not, okay.
Well,
If I wait till tomorrow to do it. Yeah. You can tell me no.
Yeah, so the way we planned it, just because the legs are so long, we don't have enough gas, and the C-130s can't take enough gas to drag us much further. So we went from Oahu to Wake Island. We stayed a night in Wake Island. Then we went from Wake Island to Guam, and then we spent some time there for some weather delays, and then we went from Guam to Darwin. So it was a 3-leg flight. It was about 5,300 nautical miles total. The airplane itself has got about a 600 nautical mile radius, combat radius, so we had some additional auxiliary fuel tanks, and then we just constantly get gas from the C-130s, pre-planned times, and they drag us across the ocean. I guess what the Osprey brings to MRF-D is just speed and range. It can go quite a bit further, quite a bit faster, and then, you know, conduct that assault support mission, do humanitarian service, and then really just the speed and agility that it brings to the MAGTF. All right, so for humanitarian assistance, obviously, again, the speed becomes a factor. The speed and range is a huge plus for humanitarian assistance, as well as what it can take. So we can carry a load below the airplane and sling it. We can carry food, water, and supplies inside the aircraft. And really, you know, we've got the range of an airplane, but we can land anywhere a helicopter can land, so we can get those needed supplies to people in a hurry. So just the distance and the fuel problem itself, and then the weather. There's such a diverse spread of weather between here and Hawaii that you can't really ever plan for all of it. You just do your best. You come up with a plan and then deal with the changes as they come. But yeah, really the weather, the distance, and then the logistical part about if we had a parts issue or we needed a part, how are we going to skin that? And really what we did is anything to Wake Island would come out of Hawaii and be brought to Wake. And then once we got to Guam, we just sourced parts from Japan. So we had to send a C-130 actually to Japan for a generator. And it was a 4.5-hour flight. So that piece worked out pretty good, but it took a little pre-planning just to think about that part and try to wargame what could go wrong and how you're going to deal with those issues as they happen. Really, for the pilot, it's just a long time in the seat in an airplane with no bathroom. So the first day was 8.5 hours. That was the longest day. The second day was about 5 hours and 15 minutes, and then today was about 7 hours and 15 minutes. So it's a long time to sit in a plane that you usually fly a 3-hour mission in. I think some people just stretched out, stayed hydrated, and tried to think about the positives. Just the thing has proven itself time and again since since it first deployed in 2007. So I think those that know what it can do. The COCOMs all know what the Osprey can do. You know, this probably sends a strategic message to our adversaries, like Ospreys can range the Pacific, so that's a good thing. Make sure the whole world knows the Red Dragons were the first ones to cross the Pacific.
Yeah, we flew most of the way across the Pacific from Hawaii to Australia, stopping 2 stops along the way, around 3,000 miles and a lot of hours, around 20 to 21 hours in the plane. Pretty long trip, and it took a little bit longer than expected, but it was a good success, and we proved the planes could do it. Yeah, that's the first time we've come for actual MRF-D and not just stopping in for a MEU. And I think we'll be able to, our capabilities will be suited to help the battalion here accomplish anything they want to do. We're a great assault support platform. We'll be able to move a lot of troops in less time and maybe range out a little bit farther than they have in the past with air support. Well, for humanitarian assistance, obviously we can range far distances away with air refueling over the water. Anywhere we need to go. We can take supplies to people where they're needed for people, or we can pick up injured or people that just need to leave the area. Well, anytime you leave your home base, getting parts and supplies is obviously a challenge. We were able to mitigate that a little bit by bringing a lot of parts and people, enablers, maintainers with us. But obviously just being over the water for long periods of time without divert airfields and land to land it if you have a serious problem is always a major factor. Long days, a lot of time in the cockpit, so just staying engaged with each other. A lot of talking back and forth, and just encouraging everybody to press on, because they're longer legs than what we fly in most training flights. Well, I think it's a proof of concept that we can range farther than we felt comfortable doing before. Everybody knew that the aircraft is capable of doing it, but just the risk mitigation and the comfort level of doing it. This successful mission probably raises that up.
So to get 4 Ospreys to Darwin, we started in Hawaii. We had 2 KC-130J tanker frames, so that has a fuse tank that's got roughly about 24,000 pounds of fuel in there. We also had a cargo aircraft that carried all the MV-22 maintainers and all their gear in order to keep these guys flying each day. In order to actually execute the mission, we only needed 2 tanker frames, and the 3rd aircraft would just push ahead to be a weather recce. We first got word of the mission probably early fall. We started detailed planning around February. In March, we flew a crew out, myself and Captain Shrewsbury flew out to Hawaii to do some rehearsals with the MV-22s. Then about a week before the actual mission, we flew out another C-130. They did about 4 days of rehearsals, and then we brought the 2 tankers on that Friday to launch the following Wednesday. It was very smooth, so very smooth. The only thing that delayed us throughout the trip was weather, which obviously we're not going to be able to control that. So, I mean, basics, join up en route, and then landing. The join ups all went smooth. I would say the flight was usually joined up within the first 5 minutes of the flight. After that, the Ospreys very smooth and methodical around the basket. No issues getting in. Pretty much, you know, first try in the basket, got their fuel, and pressed to the next AR point. And so it was pretty smooth. You know, the first leg was probably the worst. It was a little over 8 hours from Hawaii to Wake, so that's a little nerve-wracking, obviously, without having the diverts. But other than that, you know, it was a good flight.